Well, hello! Welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, joined with hubby.
Okay.
And today we are doing long, coarse fur of the bear. As you can see, us members have been working on this for a little while. It's actually been a little while since it's been on camera. But this is where we're at up here. We are moving down here. way down here. There we go. Today I'm going to be using the Optima single because I started putting my studio back together and I had to move my dual back up to where it normally goes for when I'm working at my easel. So I figured, hey, I'd pull the single out. It's just a matter of switching pins and we will just get to see the difference. Alright. Hey Sonia. Hey Andrea. I'm trying to pull. Let's see here. There we go. I was just trying to pull something away from the background so it wasn't taking up. So this is the arm bend of the bear. Now this fur, as we can see over here, is more uniform, going in the same direction, has shadowing. And then we're going to look at the fur right here, which is just underneath the arm. We've got a good shadow right here, but this fur is more clumped, it is more coarse, and it goes out in this direction. In general, it does kind of shift and go more horizontal over here, but we will get there. This piece is a 31 by 13. Well, hello Anthony, welcome. It's been so long since I did a public live stream, and that's because I had to have surgery. And I'm on the last ends of mending, hopefully, fingers crossed. So I've been hanging out with the members. If you want to have more lives, you can join the Secret Toasty group either through YouTube or through Ko-fi. The links are in the description. For YouTube, it's just like next to my name, I believe. You'll see my name, and it's down by the likes. You can hit join, and then you get ad-free member lives. So, and for the members, sorry there's going to be ads popping up. We are public. They won't let me control that for some reason. So right now, I am actually going to heat up. What am I going to heat up? Which one do I want? For the coarse, I kind of need a thicker tip. And on the edge, the Optima 18 extra small is just a hair. Get it? Hair thicker on the edge right here compared to the small.
Sheila's here.
Hey Sheila. And with the 18 extra small, don't forget that it heats up a little hotter because it is a smaller tip compared to the small. So I don't need to have such a high heat setting. So I'm going to pull the camera down a little bit more. Lighting seems to be good. And we're going to start by focusing right here, which is lighter because we have sun coming from this side of the tree, heating the fur. Well, I guess technically that is correct as well. Lighting the fur, with the darks being closer to the body inside, under the groups, at the base of the groups. So we're going to take just the tip and we're going to see it's going to burn real hot. And because this right here is raw wood, it's going to burn even hotter even though I'm on 2. So we're going to use just the tip and drag. I'm flat. I'm not currently on the edge. And I'm just putting in the darks. I'm being quite what's the word? Loose with these strokes because we are doing fur, and fur is messy, so we don't have to worry about neatness here. Our biggest thing on getting any realistic fur or hair is ensuring we are going in the right direction of that fur and or hair. I'm looking at my phone just to zoom in. Remember, sometimes you can really throw yourself off on your burning. If you work from your reference photo, always zoomed in because things will look bigger or in a slightly different place. So it is helpful to always zoom out to check yourself.
K Art has joined the chat.
Hey K Art, welcome. It's been so long since I've done a public. I feel like out of practice, but we'll get there. Just bear with me. All right. So any blobs that I get, like I got a blob right there, which I need to zoom in for you guys. Any blobs I'm not going to worry about because it's fur. Easy to hide. Easy to look like I did it on purpose. So that means less stress. There we go. So now that you guys are zoomed in, you can see where I'm working on the reference is really small, but because I'm zoomed in, it looks really big. So I think I'm going to try. I'm going to click this off. Alright, hopefully that will help. I could take the color one, move it down just a hair, just a scotch. Actually, what I could do is this. There we go. And I'm actually going to move the sepia up. There we go. Alright. This way, we can see both the sepia, which is up here at the top, which granted, we're doing a bear in the woods, so that's kind of sepia anyway, but we've got our monochromatic photo, our color photo. The main reason I use a color photo is to see where the details are. And then with the sepia photo, I use that to see total values to make sure, because sometimes color can throw off our tone regardless of the subject. So it makes things easier to have both. Now, it doesn't matter if you have a black and white sepia. You could go full blue monochromatic. What matters is that you only have the one color in order to see the tone a little easier. So here, where the fur is a little lighter, I'm going to go up. I'm on my edge, but then I just move just a hair to the right to make a thicker stroke. Touch down in the already dark area, because that will pull the heat, drag over in the direction that I want the fur. If I need a thicker stroke, I will roll my pen to the right. Because I'm right-handed, I tend to work on the edge to the left and then roll to the right. If you're left-handed, it may be easier to go in the opposite direction. So going from the right to the left, depending on how thick you want the stroke, and I can even go back up on the tip to get that thicker stroke, get some of the darks that are in between the groups, and try not to be too uniform, although there is a uniform area here. but try not to be too uniform in the strokes so that it has texture to it. If I go real uniform, it's not going to look realistic. Fur, in general, and this goes for hair, is in groups. Those groups tend to be like V's. Like I just did a V this way, upside down V, with the fur coming out. And then where it's thinner fur, go up on my edge. The quicker I move, the lighter the stroke will be. And again, I'm on 2, but the extra small burns hotter. The 18 extra small spear shader burns hotter, which really does work to your advantage, because then you don't have to have the heat as high, which keeps your hand cooler. So drag down. Right, this is a dark shadow here, so I'm just going to put that in a little bit just so I visually have it. Overlap the strokes. I tend to make C strokes even when the fur is more straight down, and that is in order to get texture and to have it overlay the strokes, making it feel more full and more realistic. There are some furs, like say a raccoon or squirrel tail, of which we got a squirrel. We did a bit of tail on that squirrel on the channel. You'll see is a little bit more, what's the word? Trying to think of the best word. Uniform. And I could also go up on my tip to get, see here's another V. That's a group of fur. Kind of overlap it. And where the fur's lighter, I can go up against and then overlay. You see, we can see that we have clumps that are less uniform and give us the texture we're looking for. And once you get moving, it goes much faster. Yeah, here we go. So the fur comes out in this direction, so I'll just make a quick stroke just so I have a visual. We got some groups here, kind of sketch it in so I know what's what and where. Drag it down, keep it loose because it is bear fur. See, this is more up and down. This is a group, more of a V. This is fur that comes out. Now, what you may notice is I'm not going full dark or full light. Well, I should say full dark. Because I need to be able to adjust tone. So by not going and fully finishing the burn, I can bring everything together. I know that takes more time, but in doing that, I get closer to the realism I want. Because not only is it the direction and getting that as close as possible, it's also the tone. Tone is what helps give you that realism. Let's see here. So we have a shadow up here. I can go flat and slow down. start bringing it in. And when I go flat, that's going to make things, wouldn't say fuzzy, but that's where how you can achieve blurriness is by not putting really defined lines. And see, we don't need every single line. I know right now it looks like I'm putting it in, and that's for texture, not for definition. And I can go and kind of go off in a little different direction, just again for texture. Does the audio sound okay to everybody? Because I'm having to work on a big easel, floor easel. I'm further away from the mic, so I just want to make sure.
Nobody's been complaining.
Alright. Kind of crisscross. C strokes going back and forth. Kind of curve them. You can see there's slight curves going back and forth. The longer the stroke, the longer the fur is going to look.
Sheila says, yep, all good.
Okay, thank you. It's always frustrating when the volume starts screwing up. Alright. You see, when I go back over it, it also kind of tones it. So even medium strokes, that by the time I'm done, they're going to look slightly lighter. But the more we put it in, more we put the fur in, the more it starts looking realistic. This has got some dark right here, a bit of curve. So I'm going to go more flat and drag in the direction of the fur, and then we've got lighter. And see, I can define the different groups. I can go back and kind of shape it once I get this more coarse fur in. Now where it overlaps, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could start at the bottom and move up, or you can start at the top, remembering that you're going to have to undercut the layer above. I tend, if I haven't like gotten already in a groove, I try to start from the bottom and move up because it's just easier. But whatever feels comfortable to you should work. Again, just pay attention to those directions. Blend those in. Let's see here. There we go. The tree shadow comes up into the bear. This spray's right there if you need it.
It's not that.
Alright. Going up into the fur. Cutting underneath the bottom. This is going into the tree, and I can always blend it out later, so I'm not worried about it. Dragging down. My auto rotate keeps moving my bear on my phone. Alright, so that looks like a long group that I put in, but it shouldn't be that long. So what I can do is I can go in. add another group to kind of break it up. Change directions a little bit, and boom, it's now a shorter group. So that's what I would keep doing going down, because that's how the fur is. This is how the fur is all the way down the tree. It does get longer more towards the bottom, but I would just do the longer strokes. Now here's the fun part, because it's easier, just in my studio going. I need to be able to get in this direction, moving my hand in that direction. But the camera kind of limits that. So I'm just taking a minute, I'm just still moving. The shadow is going to go up into this fur here. I'm just thinking about how I want to move the board, because it's easier to move your board than stand on your head. And we get some dark, so if I just go on my tip, it will burn hotter. That's where the heat is being pushed to. So just sketch it in. We've got a good, let's see here, arms coming down here, because that's a shadow that comes together. This is the arm curve, so let's start here, just to give myself some room. In case I'm a little off, we'll just start down. Sketch it in. I'm actually going to put my pen down for a minute and see how best I can angle my board, because it's really important, if possible, again, if this was just me, it wouldn't be a big deal. But because I'm trying to keep us on camera, that does make things slightly harder. I'll have to keep one hand here. I've got a block of wax under the corner, and I will adjust the camera. Let's see here, it's probably easier. Balance. Stay with me. Alright, I'm going to angle slightly, that way hopefully you can see my tip. This is darker than what you're seeing on camera, and that's because I have to have it lit up in order to see, for you guys to see, not so much me. Alright, so the tip of these furs, let's see here, we'll go with the sepia. The tips are light. So the easiest way to do that is to find a group. I have to move myself a little bit, holding my board, and underneath this is a shadow here, with the lighter being here. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot. The fur goes this way, goes down, and then over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch down. It's going to be hot. So I started moving, but this is a shadow, so all good. Nothing to stress about. I'm giving myself some room just so I can adjust where I may need to. And paying attention to the direction. I'm going to go up on my angle, on my edge, dragging the direction of the fur. Now there may be some fur texture that we see within that shadow, but it's still going to be dark. Right now, I'm not going to worry about it. when I go to adjust tone and darken, I can worry about it then. But just doing this isn't going to throw it off. Let's see here. So I am off camera. There we go. Sorry about that. Out of practice. So, cutting under, we have some lines that do go into our lighter area. So we can put those in. So where this is light, what I'm going to do is move my pen much quicker and try not to overlap as much as possible. Only because, like with stippling, the more you go over an area, the darker it gets. So I'm going to try to move quick. Remembering this is my shadow, I'll go back and darken it, and I'll go back and forth just so we can see the difference. We got some crazy fur going in here, so we're going to go all over the place with our stroke, but keeping the direction. And for this piece, I am going all the way up to the dark edge.
Wanda's here.
Hey, Wanda.
She says, sorry I'm late.
We're just doing the long fur. Alright. So this lighter fur does come down into here. And I'm about to go back up. And I can do some shorter strokes. Some of the lighter stuff. Just because I burned an area doesn't mean it won't be light. The quicker I move my pen, even though I haven't adjusted, the lighter it will be. If I leave some gaps, even when I go to varnish, the wood will darken, but the fur will still look lighter than the darker burned areas. So here we're going to use the wood to our advantage. I can see there's a couple of white dots, or cream dots. I'm not even going to worry about that. Not even going to worry. Let's see here. Get my bearings back because I am sideways. Turn this. Oh. Alright. Trying to get my wax readjusted because I am on an angle. Let's see how much I can hold. Try that balance. Touch my phone just so it doesn't go off. Don't break. Alright, so in the shadow, I can use just the tip to darken. Following the direction. Slow down my stroke so it burns darker.
Survey.
Yeah.
That's all I didn't have time.
A little flatter. Because I was moving my pen quick, even slowing down still burns darker. even though it's not raw wood. Bring that down. I got some roughness that I couldn't get out sanding, which is fine. I also noticed that I had something fall when I was working on my studio last night. I dropped some stuff and it landed on the bear and indented the wood, but luckily it actually did it in the bark of the tree, so I can not stress about it. It just uses it as part of the texture. So, got lucky there. See, as I darken it around, there's some of that darker fur in the shadow. Some more darks in. Drag these lighter areas down into the shadow, up on the edge. See, these are really vertical strokes, or horizontal strokes, sorry. So I'm up on the edge, tip edge. Just kind of sketching them in. I'll go back later and adjust. No. Let's see here. Move up to the next group. Do the same kind of strokes. Again, this is all vertical, and if I'm hitting the camera, sorry about that. Drag. And right now I'm really just sketching in. Even if there's a shadow, I'm not worried about it, because I'm not going to burn, if I can help it, the shadow completely solid, as in solid like I'm doing a dark background, because then it doesn't feel realistic. It needs to have that texture. And the longer I drag, the lighter the stroke starts getting. Keep some of that shadow. If I wasn't on camera, I'd be holding this in my lap, or I'd be putting it completely on its side. Gotta bring my shoulder down so I can bring my arm down. There we go. I can go back and shape. So I'm just getting those strokes in. See, I can kind of form the groups as I go. Overlap shorter fur. It's gonna look like a mess, but that's okay. We're doing messy fur anyway, aren't we? Pull that out. Go that way. It may be hard to visualize until there's more in. There's a lot of shadow over here. Let's see, I'm looking to see how far, because this group of hair goes to about down here. You guys can't see. And then the fur actually changes directions and goes back the other way.
Burrow's here.
Hey, Burrow. Let's see here. Let's get some shorter strokes for shorter fur, and then we can go back in and shape the shadow. Cutting into and see, I've created a pretty pretty good line here that I will work. Well, it's a harsher line, so it's okay. As I put more in, it will read better. We just got to get there. Shorter strokes means shorter fur. Following the direction of the fur. Do some overlapping. Kind of move around so nothing is uniform. And if I get some areas where I went a little too dark, I just work it in. We can be really relaxed with this. Let's see here, let's pull it together here. So, in the middle, we've got shorter strokes because this fur is looking more at us, whereas this is going off to this side, this is going off to the right. Where something is looking at us, it's going to be shorter. And that's with any fur, pretty much with anything, where perspective comes into play. When I put the board down, I'll show you. Because that's a really easy way. It's easy to show that. Let's tap in some darks in here, separate some of these groups. I may have lost some of the longer groups, but it's not anything to stress about because I can go back and form them. Meanwhile, I've been doing all this. I've done it with one pen, and I haven't adjusted my heat. I've just been going. I'm one of those people who does suffer from full set syndrome, where you want all the colors or all the pens. Luckily, even with colors, you don't have to have all of them. Wood burning tips are the same way. You don't have to buy all of them. In fact, I don't recommend buying a whole lot of it when you're first starting to burn because you start feeling overwhelmed, and the more overwhelmed you feel, the less likely you are to burn. Less likely you are to burn, less likely you are to learn. So if you've been feeling stuck, I would say if you bought a bunch of pens, put away most of them and just keep out like 4. Just start getting comfortable with those 4. You can always bring out others later. Just start with basic ones. Get used to them. Learn what they do and what you can do with them, because it's not even so much what they can do, it's more about learning what you can do.
I suspect Burl shares that compulsion.
Oh yeah, she does.
Based on what she said in the chat.
She does.
She says, yes, I need them all to have them, all mine.
Alright, so drag the shadow, the direction. But Burl, you've been burning for a couple of years, so I understand. But if you're really new to burning, I don't recommend buying a whole bunch of them. regardless of brand. If you've got one of the replaceable tip ones, I'd put a bunch of those tips away because they're just going to get... I mean, when you regardless of brand, I do recommend sitting and doing a board with each one of the tips you have. Making different textures, that way you know what the pen does. And then once you see that multiple pens can do similar textures, put all but one away. And just work with that one pen. That one tip.
Andrea says she used to be like that. She had to watch her spending.
Yep.
Burl says she hasn't bought any new pens since before COVID.
Yeah, I haven't tested any new pens in a long time. This one's actually the last pen. I haven't bought a pen even longer. See, as I keep going, I see I have a bit of a thicker area. I'm going to put some more shadow in. Break some of this up. Sorry, face itched. Camera keeps bumping I keep bumping the camera with my face, which makes my face itch. Alright, see, I'm flat right now. Moving quickly, so it is making softer strokes. So I should probably say softer instead of like blurry. When you're more flat, it makes a softer stroke. When you're up on the edge, it makes a more detailed stroke. At least we're getting snores from the doggies instead of barks. Let's see here where we at. And right now, because I'm so zoomed in, the burning is a little darker than what you're seeing on camera. And two, it may not look as well until I pull the camera away. So now, just cut in some darks. Slow down and follow the direction of the fur. You see how the fur starts lightening up, especially at the tips, cutting underneath the layer above. Go flat here just to darken some of this. I'm also going, this is an up-down grain, so long cut grain. But I'm going across it, so that's going to grab the tip differently. You may see a little bit of, the best way for me to describe it would be ribbing. Like, the grain's going to burn darker. And so, maybe knitting's not the best term. I have to think about it. Come overlap. See, the more I darken, and where I touch down first, it's going to burn the hottest. The softer part of the grain is going to burn darker. Let's see, let's tone some of the top. I will back it out in a minute so we can better see. And if I burn the top or the base of that group of fur and leave some lighter areas, the fur will look lighter at the tip, which is what we're trying to achieve. Alright, let's back it out. And then we'll go to the middle, just because it'll be easier for me to hold the board. Actually, I won't have to hold the board. Alright. Let's put it down. Let's back it out. And I know right now it still may look, I'm going to unzoom some. So it looks like two different textures, as it should, because this is longer, these are shorter. And I would just keep darkening the base. Trying to make sure I'm not too... Alright, let's go to the center. Let's bring these together. That way, this is softer fur than this one, softer looking, so I am going to have to go in and adjust. Remember, my pin's just been sitting while I was adjusting the camera, so it's going to be full heat of my setting. I can touch down in an area I've already burned to pull some of the heat. Overlap these strokes. I can go back and see a long stroke in the right direction. I can make a C, like half circle or quarter circle. And go up underneath, go a little darker to shape it. The base of a group is always going to be darker, even with blonde hair or blonde fur. The base, so there's our V. We're in between two groups. So I'm going to go flat. Make a mess that I can clean up. Let's see here. See, I'm shaping these different groups. Let's see here, we got a group that goes this way. Get that in. And it's okay if I make the stroke a little too long because I can clean it up. From the bottom. That's just by slowing down. And it'll burn darker. We'll go right on the tip. All of my fur and all of my hair are always done with the 18 small, extra small. spear shaders. It's been a very long time since I've used a skew for anything. I don't particularly care for skews. And that's just a personal 19 years of doing this that I don't prefer the skews. They have their uses, and I'll bring one out and then I'll see if I can use it for something and then just find that I could do better because I spend more time with these pens. Not that I can't do it, it's just I spend more time, so I'm more comfortable. When you're more comfortable, you spend more time, and when you spend more time, you get your emotions down. And when you get your emotions down, things start coming together more. It all comes together. You gotta spend time doing it. Let's see here. So we got a bit of a mess. So I'm gonna go.
Girl says she likes her skew.
Yep, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just, based on how I burn, I just prefer these. No different than an artist who uses a pencil or a pen. They have their brands that they like. See, I'm all over the place. I got messy first started. Can do a bit of oval stroke, overlapping. Even when I started burning, the skew was a pen that I was less likely to grab. Because I do move my hands more like a graphite artist. Because that's how I started burning.
Girl says she doesn't like her ball tips.
There are definitely certain things I like the ball tips for. I really like the extra large ball tip, Optima ball tip. I find it really smooth. Alright. Trying to bring this together. I need to put in some more darks. Those aren't uniform shapes, so put them in. Start separating. And do a bit of tapping just to kind of break it up.
Girl says she loves her spoon shaders.
I used to swear by this spoon shaders. In fact, the spoon shaders, a nibs burner spoon shaders is what I used the most. So much so that, because I had bad advice on how to clean a tip. So I used sandpaper, so much so that I reshaped, thinned out the tip. And it took me a little while to get used to these Optima spears, but once I did, and look back, I like the spoon shaders to tone and blend for smooth areas, dark backgrounds. Just tapping in some darks and flat, or tapping in with the tip. Let's see here. This fur is, I'm going to go flat and drag in the direction. soften it up. Go into the darks, drag down a bit. And that's where you'll get more of the feeling of something curving. Bring those darks down, but not as much. See, as I go over the strokes I've already done, get some longer groups in here, because this fur is coarse. And what makes fur coarse is when you do have a little bit more definition, but some of this fur is just long and thicker. Coarse fur tends to be thicker. So we gotta go longer strokes, more strokes. See, these I put in quick lines when I was transferring. So they actually kind of look like petals. And that's just because I was zigzagging and just trying to get them transferred, because this was a very big thing to transfer. It took a couple hours to get it all transferred over. Again, this is 31 inches long, and the widest point, I believe, is 13 inches. Straight up and down is going to be shorter strokes. Oh, I was going to show you perspective. Put that down for a minute. And even though we're doing similar strokes, we can see. Get that in there. Do some more shaping. Focus, focus. So, I am going to use this pencil. So, horizontal, we see the whole pencil from one, from one side. As this pencil turns, it starts looking shorter. It's not shorter, it just looks shorter to us because we're seeing less of it. And as it keeps turning, when it gets to the point that it's straight head on to us, we barely see anything. We just see the very tip. So, from the perspective of fur, when the fur is looking directly at us, whether it's curved to point to the camera, or it's short and spiky, or in this case it's grouped going closer in perspective, it'll be shorter strokes. As it curves out, we start seeing more and more and more to the point that it's a long stroke, which is what we have here. If you keep that in mind while you're burning.
Andrea has a question, but I'm not sure if I understand it.
Okay.
She says, are your strokes like starching on a paper?
I'm trying to think if maybe she meant a different word and that autocorrect or something.
Maybe she meant stretching.
Andrea, I'm not sure. Could you... My brain isn't like getting it. Don't you hate when your brain's like, nope, don't get it. I guess wait till she clarifies. See how my strokes here are softer because I'm flat? I'm just filling in up on the edge, more detailed, more defined, flat, softer. And that's for spear shaders. Because I was talking about, scratching maybe? Like how some pencils have the scratchy feel. Is that what we're talking? Maybe?
Sketching on paper.
Oh, okay.
Drawing with pencil on paper.
When I'm moving quickly, especially when I'm just laying in, then yeah, it's more like I'm sketching. Although even when I'm just putting in, so like when I'm moving quick like this and I'm not putting any definition, then yeah, it's just like sketching on a piece of paper. I'm just going. And then I can go back and better define. This is just more so I know that's how my hands are moving. It is more like I'm just sketching on a piece of paper. And then I can go back and better define what I just did. Let's see here. So that's an odd shape that I put in. So I need to put some more dark versus trying to get rid of that dark. I'm going to go find other areas where I can put more dark, which other areas do need to be more dark. Once I do that, it doesn't look off. See, as I move over here. But yeah, when I'm moving fast, and I'm just putting a few lines in, it is more like I'm sketching on a piece of paper. Like this. This also allows that if I need to erase the graphite, I now have the direction of where I'm going. So I could come back and erase if that's what I needed to do. Alright, so I'm going to start toning a little bit, but I'm not going to go to the end so I have some light fur. And then separate a little bit of those groups. Make better clumps. See, I can go back through and I can really start shaping and separating what I just did. And just by spending that extra time, it'll look more realistic. Even though I haven't been on like social media a whole lot lately, I've been in fact horrible. I do see some updates here and there from some of the groups out there, burning groups, and there seems to be some people who are really adamant about getting a burning done fast, like it's a race. And then also wondering why this doesn't look realistic or this doesn't look like this. The biggest thing is not spending that extra time. Spend that extra time. You will see a big difference. Remember, it's quality over quantity. It isn't a race. Could I burn something quicker? Absolutely. But the bigger question is would I be happy with it? The answer is no. What did you do?
I didn't do nothing.
Just leave it, just leave it, just leave it. Bring it down. It's fine, just leave it.
Okay, I just made sure it wasn't going to fall over anymore.
Flat and drag, flat and drag. See? So we've brought this together. I feel I need to... I could do longer strokes. Kind of overlapping. And that will make it look like longer fur. Making sure that follow that direction. And see this shadow underneath for the tree? I can go back in and cut it in, so I'm not going to worry about it. We don't get to worry about everything. So burn flat, change up our direction. Just keep going. I mean, look how much we've filled in an hour. I didn't realize we just went a little over an hour.
Yeah, we did. I was just about to.
Alrighty. So, I need to put more darks in. So I can make this look like it should. That's just tapping at the base in some areas. Doesn't have to be everywhere. Just where I want to lift and separate groups. Shh. Hey. They're not talking to you. It's a message you can give later. Goodness gracious. Alrighty, so do we have any questions? Next week, I'm not sure what we'll work on next week. I've kind of been jumping around on this piece. Let me back it out as much as I can so we can see what we've done. And we can see we've got some different textures going on. See, a big piece. Big bear. Kiss me. Big piece. And this is where I have the indent. It's a pretty big one. Or deep one. I could dampen it and with a damp towel and an iron steam it out, but then I have to sand and go through all that. What I could do is actually recreate it in some other areas within the tree. Burn it. And the only reason you guys know is because I told you. So, alrighty. Trying to back it out. Again, it's darker than what you guys are seeing. Because I need the lights to show the camera. Way up there's our head. But I would say, and again, it needs some more, sorry. I'm trying to make anybody. Needs some more darks, but just with one pen, one heat setting. I never changed my heat setting, and I never changed my pen. I got all that done, which I will continue to do down here. just as you saw, would go in there. What we just did. Alrighty. So, let's see here. We got long fur. We did the short fur of the face for a public live. We can do tree bark next week. You know, I will let the members pick what we do next week for the public. So, if you're new and you want to know how to become a member, you can either click on YouTube, the join button, that's right next to my name, and by the like, don't forget to hit the like button. Or you can go down in the description and look for my Ko-fi link. You can also become a member through Ko-fi. With both links, or through both memberships, all I see is your name. I don't get any of your bank account information. I deal with Ko-fi and let's see here. Yes, Halloween. I know. I don't have a piece ready for Halloween. And after 3,000 miles of traveling and surgery and all that stuff, Wanda said, let's work on bear. So, there it is. That's what we got. So, if you're watching it on replay and there's something else you'd like me to go over, just leave it in the comments. And I will see it. Thank you, Sonia. Always awesome to have you guys. It's been a long time. It's been since April since I did a public live stream. Felt a little off, but I think it'll be okay. I think I did okay. I get comfortable with the members and we just go. And with being a member, there are no ads. So, Wanda, don't worry about it. We have to get to the bear anyway, so I can get this darn huge thing done for next February. And at the rate I'm going, I'll be cutting it close. So, don't forget to hit the like. And if you're new and haven't subscribed, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I may not be live every week for the public, but when I am, you'll know about it. And say it with me. You know what to say. And if you're new, pop up on the screen for us. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. Happy burning, guys. And it helps if I point at you, not at the bear. You're a pyro artist.